you know, kept telling them how this guy needs an ambulance immediately. Like, don't just get this kid an ambulance, because I could see how, like, blood was spurting out of his head, and, like, it was very bad. I kept repeating that, and finally, when the guys were taking off, I followed them. They ended up cutting through the Ped Mall to the Sheraton, you know, and I'm on the phone with the cops saying, hey, they went to the Sheraton, they're wearing this. I found out later that night that when the ambulance got there to Poncheros to get the kid, very shortly after they got there, he seized and stopped breathing. So, I mean, stuff like that happens, and I take that as part of my role as, the service that I provide to people, to the community. I got kind of thrown into the taxi industry. I was being a stay-at-home dad for like 4.5 years. My daughter was getting back into school. There was some medical and, some various misfortunes that happened that basically drained me, and I had to, I lost my way around. I had to, my car was no longer with me. Basically, I had to get rid of it and pay, some stuff happened. I had to do it. I needed a way to get around, and I needed work. So, taxi company, was advertising on Craigslist. And I was like, man, like, football season, I was like, I bet I could start, just get some cash in my pocket, and then I'll have some more options. I can figure some more stuff out. And my first 12-hour shift, I went home with like over $600, almost $700. And the first day, I told the owner of that company to go fuck himself, and I shut the radio off, and I ran myself. I didn't know anything about the industry, but I just shut it off, and I ran for 6 hours, unconnected from anybody. He was freaking out for a while, but I called him like 3 hours into that, said, hey, I'm still working, don't call the cops, I'll have your money at the end of the shift, And 2 days later, I was running his fucking dispatch, because I handed him more money than any other driver that day, and it was my first day. All growing up, I was always the one driving, and I loved it. I loved, taking my friends around to have a good time. I'm not a huge drinker. It doesn't do well with my body. I can have a few drinks socially, but generally I don't like to drink. So it all kind of fit together, like, hey, I kind of got into the cab industry under some shitty situations, but I actually love what I do. I relish the role of it, and it comes naturally to me, like what I'm doing. So it's kind of like, I guess the universe kind of pushed me into something that, I thought maybe I should be doing. Started out at the very bottom. I've kind of been working, with some other people to just kind of change that image a little bit and maybe elevate the job a little bit, because the economy's hard. You got guys coming into this industry now that have master's degrees and stuff like that, and they're not dummies. They may be a little quirky, and, some misfortunes may have led to them becoming cab drivers, but it's not just the low of the low anymore, and I think we have, an opportunity to elevate that and provide some, better benefits for cab drivers, and, start here in Iowa City. Obviously, worldwide, taxi drivers historically are just, it's a lower class of worker, I would say, and, they're known for being kind of scuzzy, and they've earned the reputation. Part of that is through the way that the industry is regulated, because the owners of those big companies want to keep competition out, and they want to keep their workers dumbed down. Your cab drivers are not guaranteed any wages, like whatsoever. What you get is commission. The larger companies that don't take care of the drivers, and they basically just treat them as, slaves. Honestly, they're slaves. They have to work long 12-hour shifts with no benefits, no guaranteed breaks. There's straight up slaves, The owner of Yellow Cab here in town, in Iowa City, lives in a mansion in Florida. The owner of the company that I drive lives in an apartment with his, kid and his wife. Like, he's a business owner. He's a Vietnamese guy, and I think he saves he's probably got the first penny he ever earned hidden somewhere on his body. Technology is allowing that drivers to evolve, and the larger companies are trying to stop that. They're doing anything they can, because even in the small city like Iowa City, the taxi cab industry is an estimated $7 to $10 million cash industry every year. People want that cash money. That's what it's all about to them. You know, and that's why I'm in it too. I gotta eat. I basically want to keep doing this for a few years, build up a customer base, you know, maybe get another van, hire a few drivers, drive on the weekends, but put my money into another, perhaps more, you know, more adult-like business venture. Whatever may come, I'm doing what I do now because that's the way out.